Hello, I'm on a different topic today, and that is, what does it feel like to die? Uh, this channel is called Truth, Lies, and Myths. So, depending on your point of view, you may categorize this as true, a lie, or a myth. That's up to you. I'm going to be reading directly from a book, and at the end of this reading, I will give the name and information about obtaining your own copy if you want, because it's still commercially available. So I am quoting from the book. You'll notice he doesn't waste any time starting out. Actually, I'm skipping a forward and a couple pages of a section 1, which is and going directly to section 2. The actual process of dissolution is not necessarily a painful one. I had during my earth life witnessed many souls passing over the border into spirit. I had had the chance of observing with the physical eyes the struggles that take place as the spirit seeks to free itself forever from the flesh. With my psychic vision, I had also seen the spirit leave, but nowhere was I able to find out, that is from orthodox sources, what exactly takes place at the moment of separation, nor was I able to gather any information upon the sensations experienced by the passing soul. The writers of religious texts, books tell us nothing of such changes for one very simple reason: they do not know. The physical body many times appeared to be suffering acutely, either from actual pain or through labored or restricted breathing. To this extent, such passings had all the appearance of being extremely painful. Was this really so? Was a question I often asked myself. Whatever was the true answer, I could never really believe the actual physical process of dying was a painful one, notwithstanding that it appeared so. The answer to my question, I knew I would have one day. And I always hoped that at least my passing would not be violent, whatever else it might be. My hopes were fulfilled. My end was not violent, but it was labored, as were so many that I had witnessed. I had a presentiment that my days on earth were drawing to a close, only a short while before my passing. There was a heaviness of the mind, something akin to drowsiness as I lay in my bed. Many times I had a feeling of floating away and of gently returning. Doubtless during such periods, those who were concerned with my physical welfare were under the impression that if I had not actually passed, I was sinking rapidly. During such lucid intervals that I had, I endured no feelings of physical discomfort. I could see and hear what was going on around me, and I could sense the mental distress that my condition was occasioning. And yet I had the sensation of the most extraordinary exhilaration of the mind. I knew for certain that my time had come to pass on, and I was full of eagerness to be gone. I had no fear, no misgivings, no doubts, no regrets so far at thus leaving the earth world. My regrets were to come later, but of these I shall speak in due course. All that I wanted was to be away. I suddenly felt a great urge to rise up. I had no physical feeling whatever, very much in the same way that physical feeling is absent during a dream, but I was mentally alert, however much my body seemed to contradict such a condition. Immediately I had this distinct prompting to rise, I found that I was actually doing so. I then discovered that those around my bed did not seem to perceive what I was doing, since they made no effort to come to my assistance, nor did they try in any way to hinder me. Turning, I then beheld what had taken place. I saw my physical body lying lifeless upon its bed, but here was I, the real I, alive and well. For a minute or two, I remained gazing, and the thought of what to do next entered my mind, but help was close at hand. I could still see the room quite clearly around me, but there was a certain mistiness about it, as though it were filling with smoke very evenly distributed. I looked down at myself, wondering what I was wearing in the way of clothes, for I had obviously risen from a bed of sickness and was therefore in no condition to move very far from my surroundings. I was extremely surprised to find that I had on my usual attire, such as I wore when moving freely and in good health about my own house. My surprise was only momentary, since, I thought to myself, what other clothes should I expect to be wearing? Surely not some sort of diaphanous robe. Such costume is usually associated with the conventional idea of an angel, and I had no need to assure myself that I was not that. Such knowledge of the spirit world as I had been able to glean from my own experiences instantly came to my aid. I knew at once of the alteration that had taken place in my condition. I knew, in other words, that I had died. I knew too that I was alive, that I had shaken off my last illness sufficiently to be able to stand upright and look about me. At no time was I in any mental distress, but I was full of wonder at what was to happen next. For here I was, in full possession of all my faculties, and indeed feeling, quote, physically, as I had never felt before. Although this has taken some time in the telling, in order that I might give you as much detail as possible, the whole process must have taken but a few minutes of Earth time. As soon as I had this brief space in which to look about me and to appreciate my new estate, I found myself joined by a former colleague, a priest, who had passed to this life some years before. We greeted each other warmly, and I noticed he was attired like myself. Again, this in no way seemed strange to me, because had he been dressed in any other way, I should have felt something was wrong somewhere, as I had only known him in clerical attire. He expressed his great pleasure at seeing me again, and for my part, I foresaw the gathering up of the many threads that had been broken by his death. I'll stop there. That's on page 16. The name of this book is Life in the World Unseen. The nominal author is Anthony Borgia. There's a foreword by Sir John Anderson. This was originally published in Great Britain. Anthony Borgia considered himself a psychic and a medium. So he considered that he received messages from people who had departed. He happened to know a man named Monsignor Robert Hugh Benson rather well, who was the son of a former Archbishop of Canterbury. Then he felt that after Benson's passing, he felt Benson wanted to communicate with him. And he took up a pen or pencil and paper, and he started basically automatic writing. And this entire book was the result. It's remarkably clear, explanatory, and I would say self-consistent and fascinating. So as I say, there's no external proof that any of this is true. The reader would have to simply read it for yourself and consider whether or not it seems to make sense and whether or not you choose to believe any of it. But it's one of the most interesting things I've read in this genre. This book is still available, for example, on Amazon. Audible has a free copy to listen to if you join Audible. The Kindle edition was $1.99. The paperback sells now for $21. It has been continuously in print ever since it was first published. My copy is a pretty old copy. It's starting to fall apart. It's from 1970, and it was first published in, apparently it was first published in 1966. So over 55 years ago. That's all. I just thought some people, some few of you might be interested in hearing an introduction to this book. Have a great day.